For more than 60 years, AARP has worked to empower those 50 and older to live their best lives. To live well, we all know we need to keep our bodies moving, but we also need to exercise our brains. Yoga does both. Yoga creates a stronger, more flexible body, and it strengthens part of the brain that play a role in awareness, memory, and so much more. Please, though, remember to check with your doctor before you begin any exercise routine. Our yoga class today, as I mentioned earlier, is led by Sigrid Strebe, a highly experienced yoga teacher in Bismarck. Before we begin, I'll remind you one more time, check with your doctor before you begin any new exercise routine. And with that, I'm going to hand it off to the brilliant and wonderful Sigrid to lead us in today's practice.
Thank you so much, Marnie, and to AARP too for having us here, being able to provide this service for everyone. As we all know, as we get take more trips around the sun, shall we say, things start to sometimes feel a little creaky. Sometimes we feel like we may lose some strength, but all of those things are possible to find, and just keep moving your body. So I've worked with a lot of people, and I've worked. So I'm moving. Choose to come onto your mat or to participate in a chair today, or however. I just encourage you to move your body beyond today. So with that, we'll start in coming into seated. Now, I tuck my legs underneath me, just kind of like this in a hero's pose. You can crisscross your legs into that lotus pose, or if you're just like, none of that works, my legs don't do that, and just come into this easy seat. And again, if you're starting from a chair, that's also perfect. So we'll start here in this easy seat. Movement through the spine today. We'll take those shoulders forward, bring the chin into the chest, round the spine, coming into this seated cow. And then from here, we'll lift the hands up, feel the chest rise, and feel this deep arcing through the spine. Through the spine means something to me, and it means something to you. Your arch might be a little less or a lot more. Feeling this open through the chest. And then bring those hands back down, let them rest on the legs somewhere, round the spine, drop that chin in toward the chest. Big exhale, let it go. Inhale, reach it up towards sky. And then round it out, hands to knees, round the spine. And then again, lift and rise. And one more time, we'll round it out, bring that chin to the chest, shoulder blades as wide as possible. And then let the hands rise. Let those elbows drop down and in the ribs, feel that soft squeeze in the shoulder blades. And we'll just take a little twist over toward your left side. We'll find some movement before we stop and into breath. And then we'll let the hands rise, reach towards sky, and then sweep it over to the other side. Fingertips rise or reach towards sky, and then let those elbows come down and into the ribs again. And then from here, try to find an easy place to sit, finding length through the spine and trying to bring the bottom of your ribs right over the top of the pelvis. And as soon as you stop, like this kind of sensation of pressing forward or this deep rounding of the spine, this kyphosis, you'll find that the belly starts to come online and you'll find a little bit of strength. Feel and see if you can let them fall down and away from the ears. And feel the natural rhythm of your breath this morning. Now, when you take a breath in, do you notice whether it comes maybe just underneath the breasts, or can you bring it all the way down and into the bottom of the ribs and all the way up and into that space right at the collarbones? That's how big your lungs are. Take a deep inhale. Take an extra sip of air. And then release, let go, exhale. Take another breath in. See if you can leave your shoulders where they're at. Take an extra sip of air. Keep filling those lungs. There's a lot of space in there. And then open, release, let go, exhale. And then one more time, same kind of breath. Deep inhale. Have it fill all the way. Again, collarbones to the bottom, filling those lungs. And remember to notice that expansion in the back line of the body, in the ribs, and open them out. Mouth, release, let go, and exhale. To kind of like clear through the lungs, fill them up, and then just kind of start moving fluids around, whatever you need to move around in there, especially in these cold winter days. That's when we're here today. And then from here, we'll take the hands out to the sides, sweep up and overhead. And again, let those shoulders fall down and away from the ears. We'll roll through wrists, squish through fingers, bring the palms together, and slide the thumbs down right to the center of the chest. So you'll feel your sternum, this little bone that kind of connects through the ribs here. And then you'll press down into the sternum and then feel this gentle lift or return pressure through the sternum. And from here, we like set an intention or a prayer for your practice today. And it's just a simple reason for arriving on your mat. Maybe it's something you're working through, maybe it's something you're working away from, but just a way to kind of focus our thoughts for the day. And then let go, exhale. Palms together, let the hands rise, reach. Push those thumbs back. Now, finding that mobility through your spine is super important, finding all the ways we move. We've moved a couple already, but today we'll take this right hand, bring it down. Those the left side and away from you. Now, if you're at a chair, you're just going to grab the bottom of the chair, maybe one of the legs here as you expand. And then from here, press down into the ground and then roll your gaze up toward the sky. So now you've got a side bend and a base. Just be mindful. And then bring it back into center. Reach up and overhead. Left hand comes down. And then again, reach through fingertips first to get as long as you possibly can through the side body. Then take that dip over to the and then gaze the sky. And feel the strength of your breath here. Bring the hands back to center, fingertips rise. Drop those elbows into the ribs, finding that mobility through shoulders. Hands rise. And then one more time, elbows into ribs. Take your right arm forward. Bring your left arm on top. Now, if it's not possible to cross, and I just want you to like over the elbows, and just even bringing hands to shoulders is perfect. And then where you can, you'll start to bring the back of the hands toward each other. And again, that might look just like this, or this full squeeze of the shoulders. You'll feel a strong opening through the back, and then just a little lift and rise up through fingertips. And if crossing at all, then it's palms together and just squeeze the elbows into center and let the hands rise. And then we'll bring it back down to the middle. Open those arms, reach towards sky. Elbows down and into the ribs. Bring the left arm forward. Right arm on top. Pretty sure that's opposite, but not 100%, right? Let those fingertips rise. And again, maybe it's just those elephant arms for you today. And then let those elbows come down. We'll sweep the hands up toward the sky. Oh, left and right is a fun thing. And then we'll bring those hands to the floor and start to find our way up and into tabletop. So part of finding this easy is just starting to find some different ways for mobility. So whether you sweep your legs to the side, whether you come forward, roll over the legs, but come into your tabletop this morning. And from this tabletop, we'll find this deep rounding of the spine, this lift up into your cat. and then let your hips float back towards your heels. Pull forward, let the chest come forward. And then one more time, float it back towards your variation of child's pose. Pull forward one more time into your modified up dog, just finding this movement through hips, through belly, finding length, and then come back into your neutral spine here. Take your left leg, slide it straight back, toes press into the mat, bring your gaze slightly forward, and then press your heel back as far as it goes here. Feels kind of like a lovely stretch to that calf. And then you may also notice some length happening through the belly here and everything happening on this left side. Now, let's play with some mobility. And pull it back in and press it straight back. Pull it in, press out to the side, and then pull it back in, and then one more time, press it straight back. Push the toes down into the floor, press back and lengthen. Right hand comes to right hip, the ceiling. Then right hand comes down. Left knee comes back to the floor. Lift up into that cat, down and through the spine. The little press back through the hips, lengthening, extend and expand into your modified up dog. Float it back again, child's pose. And then move forward. Modified up dog. Then slide back into your tabletop. From here, step your right foot back. And again, just kind of play with this movement as you press back through heel. Feeling the length of it. Left leg out to the side. Bring it back into center, just finding that mobility through hips. Bring it out to the side again. Then back into center. Finding that movement through the hips. And then as you press this right leg back, press right hand into the floor, left hand comes to left hip. And then let left hand rise as you move into a twist. And if it feels like it's just, you need a little more stability, you can and comes to the floor. Right knee to the mat, lift and round the spine, chin into chest. Belly down, gaze comes up. And we'll start to tuck the toes under, lift the knees away from the floor, and press into down dog. Roll through ankles here. Find some movement through the toe. Start to walk the hands up or walk the feet up between the hands. There we go. Take a little half lift, using the blocks to make your arms longer if needed. And if you can easily touch the floor, it's also cool. So options are, remember, blocks can be a little higher. They can be a little bit lower, but keep a little soft bend in the knees as you push your hips back. Allow the crown of the head to come down toward the floor, lengthening through the neck, maybe feeling a little length through the spine. And again, if this bothers your low back at all, come up a little bit higher and bend your knees some more. Exhale. We'll all lift up halfway, bring our hands to the thighs, and then feel your chest come your legs here as the hands rise toward the sky. And then pull those elbows down and into the ribs. Inhale, lift. Find movement as you press your hips back, fold it forward. Or touching the floor. Inhale for a half lift. Exhale, forward fold. Strong legs, and then sweep those hands up toward the sky. Let those elbows open, feel the chest open, that movement through shoulders. Hands rise. Swan dive forward, fold. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, forward fold. And then sweep hands toward sky. Now, elbows into ribs. If there's only one thing you can do every day, maybe it's 5 of these. It's half sun salutes. Inhale up. Find all of that movement, forward fold. Gets the blood moving. Inhale for a half lift. connects you to breath, forward fold, strong legs, and then sweep those hands up toward the sky. Feeling that lengthening through the body as you drop the elbows down and into the ribs. One more time, inhale up. Inhale for a half lift. Release it and forward fold. Strong legs and sweep those hands up toward sky. Bring the elbows down and into the ribs. And then sweep those hands out to the sides. Release those shoulders, maybe find a little movement through hips. Move that block to the side. We won't need it for just a bit here. And let's start to find some movement through the hips, right? Finding this and then crossing over that midline. This is really great for your brain. So not everything has to be about getting strong and finding all these places, but it's also about our brain health, as Marnie mentioned earlier. So we'll take this right foot, come up and onto that tiptoe, slide the right foot forward, which seems pretty easy, right? And then you'll pull it back and in, and then slide it out to the side. Where we sometimes run into things feel strange, or hold, and then just slide, not looking where it's at in space, but trust, pull it forward, take this right foot forward, and then bring right leg over left. So you're crossing this midline, just giving that toe a little tap. And then forward again, out, slide it back. If you want to add to it, you can come forward, lift, slide it out to the side, pull it back in, and you can always stay fully connected into the floor. We'll lift, slide it across, bring it across the midline, bring it in, point it forward, pull it in, slide it out to the side, and then again, maybe just sliding it back. And then you might notice the strength you created on this left side, feeling that center. Take a moment to feel this lift and rise through this right side where we're staying in, and make the left foot forward. Pull it in, slide out to the side. And again, just start by sliding here. Slide your left foot back. You'll also feel those lovely little glutes start to engage here as you do this. And we'll pull it in, slide it forward, and then start to bring it across the center, okay? So what do you notice as soon as you start to bring it across center? Your brain has to move from one side to the next for that movement. And we'll bring it to the front, pull it in, slide it out, pull it in, maybe step it back or slide it back, pull forward, bring it forward, and then bring it across. And again, you can hang out here, you can tap, bring it up, bring it down, come back, maybe you lift and tap out to the side, pull it back in and lift and slide it back. And again, reminder, you can always keep it connected to the floor, finding your place of comfort, and then release that left foot down to the floor. And actually take a little bit wide here as you move side to side, through toes. Step the feet in, palms forward. Back. Inhale for a half lift. Exhale, fold it forward. Strong legs, and then sweep it up towards sky. Thumbs right back into heart center this time. Now from here, let's play with that movement of sliding that left leg back. So you'll step your left leg back and then open that foot up into a 90-degree angle, or basically perpendicular from your front foot. We don't talk much about alignment here, but today we will. I want you to notice, let's see where we can get here, that where your front knee is, right? We're trying to find strength in inner thighs here, strength in our legs, and not really mess with the joints too much, but really find strength in the muscles of our bodies to support those joints. And when you bend it, see if you can point it toward your middle toe or maybe out to your pinky toe. Okay. What we're trying to avoid is this movement where the knee kind of sickles into the center, toes are over here, and we're trying to find a warrior two like this, right? Where everything's kind of collapsing into center. We lose a lot of strength through those inner thighs. So instead, straighten your legs, lift your toes a little bit. And then as you slowly mindfully bend into that front knee, it'll go middle toe, pinky toe, just kind of feel this strong sensation of strength in this inner thigh. Lift your toes a little bit. And then release them back down to the floor. And then take this left shoulder and see if you can bring it over this left hip. Okay, so if you were to stand here in this super powerful pose, this is your warrior two without the arms. And then maybe you extend, maybe it's a softer bend through the elbows. I didn't flip anybody. I just showed you over this middle finger on this right hand, and we'll
Hey, it looks like we're having a few sound issues with Sigrid there. Sigrid, your sound went off if you can hear me. Nope, don't hear you yet. Yeah. Nope, still don't hear you, Sigrid. See what we got here. Nope, not yet. Oh, the technology, it's always a joy. So Sigrid's working on the sound there. So everybody just keep your breathing and whatever you would love. No. Oh, there. Yeah. Yes, we hear you.
Okay. Apparently, I was miming.
There you go. We're good.
Nobody wants to mime. Okay. Well,
all right. Continue.
Fine. Warrior two. And then from this place, and I had so many good things to say. Warrior two. And you'll see if you can float this back leg up. And again, playing with that sensation of freedom, that sensation of bringing yourself back to floating. We don't often realize how much that disappears as we take more trips around the side. See if you can take your gaze straight forward and then float this left foot up. Let the hands rise and reach up and overhead. Rest, thumbs back, and then right back into heart center. Okay, hands rise, lift. Now step your right foot back. Bring that right foot out to the side. And then bend into that front knee. Okay. And again, reminder, using the strength in case you didn't hear it because we sound. Finding that strength through that inner thigh as your knee points towards your pinky toe or your middle toe. So you're kind of finding this strength to open up through the legs, feeling strength in the belly, and then also this gentle lift through the pelvic floor. Fingertips extend, and we'll lift up for reverse. Let that left hand rise. Bring this left hand either down the leg, inner thigh, maybe you can reach the floor or use a block. We'll let that right hand rise. Feel the strength of your breath. One more inhale. Front into that left foot, we'll lift up for reverse, lift, lift, lift. Straighten this front knee just a little bit. Take your left hand forward and then allow yourself to see if you can float to the top of the bring that foot to the floor. Hands rise, reach towards sky. Push the hips back, forward fold. Inhale for half lift. And then exhale, release and forward fold. Strong legs, let the hands rise, you reach it up towards sky. And then thumbs down and in the heart center. Let those hands come to the hips. Feel the strength of the feet connecting down and into the floor, and then let those hands come wide. Palms forward, and then notice this rotation through the shoulders as you lift through the chest. Feel the strength of your breath. Deep inhale, and then let go, exhale. Now, fingertips lift toward the ceiling. Take this left leg, slide it back, and then let that heel stay off the floor. If you feel like you need more stability, you'll bring that left heel down to the mat and just feel that deep connection down into the floor. If you feel like you have a little more strength through the feet, maybe a little more balance, hands, heel comes off the floor, hands release. Then we'll bring the hands down into heart center. Now, your full twist, we're going to move through twist. Your full twist might be just bringing over to the side. Your twist might be elbow down. Your twist might be here. But what you're doing is you're just trying to find that little spiral staircase through the spine. Then bring it back into center. And then from this lunge, we'll bring your hands either down to the floor, to your fancy blocks, your book, or your cans, or whatever you brought with you today. And you'll shift your weight to your front foot. And then feel this left leg either hang out on the floor as you lift up tall to this right side, or maybe tap here. Left. A modified warrior 3. Then pull this left leg again, plant it on the floor. Take a little switch side to side. Sink your hips back like you're going to sit in a chair. Bring your chest forward, thumbs come into the chest, and then hands reach, rise, and expand as you bring elbows down into ribs. Fingertips left. Thumbs down to heart center. And again, we'll take to the other side, this right side. I'm going to use the wall a little bit here. Slide it back. And whether you choose to keep your heel off the floor or keep your heel connected to the mat really doesn't make any difference. Like, you're still going to find strength in the posture. You're still going to find the movement. This just requires a little more balance when the heels off the floor. Little. Okay. You'll bend into this. Rise, lift, palms come together, thumbs down and into heart center. And then find your variation of twist on this side. Whether, again, this could be your full twist. Maybe you're bringing elbow down to the knee. Just finding your variation of a twist on this side. And again, imagine your spine is that beautiful kind of spiral staircase, bringing it around and over to this left side. Feel how strong your back foot is. And then slowly bring it back into center. Let your hands come down toward the floor or toward your blocks, adjusting height as needed. Shift your weight to your front foot, and then lift, even if it's, again, just this little toe tap of lifting this back leg, or this full lift, push through the heel, pull the toes toward the knee, and expansion into your warrior 3. A lot of through the glute on this left side. Trust and balance, and as the right foot comes down, we'll take a half lift. Fold forward. Inhale for half lift, and then forward fold again. Drop. And then let the elbows drop into the ribs. Let's start to move down toward the floor. So if you need extra blocks, if you are using your chair and you're coming back into seated, finding all those spaces, but here we go. Hands rise, reach. That was a total cheerleader one. Hands rise, reach. Okay. Hands rise. Exhale, forward fold. I was the mask stuff, okay? So I wasn't inhale up half lift. I was never in the fancy cheerleader outfits. I was the bird. Super cool, right? Okay, from here, we'll walk your feet back. Let your knees release down toward the floor. Bring your big toes to touch where you can, and options are to keep your knees right in center here, or to let your knees come wide. Your hips will let you know where you need to be. And then let your hips come back toward your heels, and then bring your torso forward. Now, I understand not everybody's knees bend that way. So again, here's your handy box. And this might be your full child's pose. But play with the depth of it in your own body. You should feel some lengthening through the low to mid back. Feel those ribs expand on the breath. Let go, exhale. Push into the hands, pull yourself forward. And so bringing those legs around, maybe pulling them through or rolling over the top of the legs. I think most of us make like the little dog in the grass and come all the way around, right? So from here, push your heels up. Roll those inner thighs towards center, just sit. Hands come to shins, and feel this lift. And in fact, let's take our hands right next to our hips. Pull the elbows in, and then push the heels of the hands down into the floor. And you'll notice that the front side of the body comes online and feels that strength. Listen for the sound of your breath. Pull your chin back, see if you can bring your ears over the top of your shoulders. And listen for the sound and the strength of your breath. The posture is called staff or stick pose. Then find a little release for the hands. And if it's available, a forward fold, which forward fold can be, I brought my hands to fold can bring hands all the way down to the feet. Okay. If you've got belly that comes into the way, sometimes you need to lift that little guy up and then give yourself some space to fold. It happens, right? So now there's plenty of ways to move around it. Feel the strength of your breath as you forward fold. And then start to slowly roll up. Now, we have to open this wide-legged movement through the hips today. So let's pull those heels in and then bring the legs wide. If you're seated on a chair, same thing, you're just bringing those legs wide. Here, just take a little movement through the hips, rolling those femur bones into center or thighs towards center. And if it feels like you're here, so some of you are going to be like splits wide, and some of us are going to be a little narrower than that. And you'll let those hands either press into the floor. Someone might be able to bring their face and their chest all the way to the floor. The rest of us are going to hang out a little bit higher. And whether that's pressing into your shins, your thighs, and then finding a kind of like a fold forward, like you're closing a suitcase, or whether you can come forward onto a block. When you find the edge of it, let go and exhale. Then take a half lift. Just feel a little bit of movement. Maybe make those adjustments for sits bones after the body is on the fold. And then one more time, finding that wide-legged forward fold. Okay. So now we've taken our bones from where we're using that, which is just front to back, and we've taken them and we've rotated them up. This moving the bones that are connected to the hip in as many directions as possible to those hips. You have a whole class coming up in the future. Just to start to lift on up, we'll find a little bit of movement or twist for the spine again. Now, take your left hand, reach down, and whether you simply touch the shin on your, or you can actually reach your big toe. Sometimes when you find the twist you can. And we'll just find and move some movement here and try to keep this part of your body, the pelvis area, and maybe just the space right underneath the ribs, kind of where they're at and stable. Let the movement come in space, shoulder blades and higher to start with, and see how that changes your twist. Okay. We usually get, sometimes that mid spine feels like it just doesn't get enough movement. Right? We usually use our low back to lift, all these other things. Just finding this movement through this mid back or this thoracic spine. Exhale. Then slow return into center. Take some roll. This come into center, and then same thing other side. Taking this right hand, space where it's at, movement comes right underneath the armpits here. As you bring your right hand over towards your right foot or your right shin. And again, it might be a little higher than that, but most of us can reach just a little bit further through this twist. Listen for the sound of your breath. Can you take that full inhale again from the bottom of the ribs all the way up into the space underneath the collarbones? And as you lift yourself up, we'll slowly bring the shoulders toward the front of the room. And then one more time, coming into that forward fold. So just feeling this length. Now, before you move into the fold, you might notice that you've got to rearrange the sits bones, right? We've twisted, we did some of these things. Things might need to be realigned. And then come forward, fold. Sometimes on this last one, there's a tiny bit more room, and play with where you're at. See where you can find a little joy in it, especially if it's posture, just like grit your teeth and your eyebrows come together. Like, I love it, right? A little joy in it. And then as you start to walk yourself back up to seated, we'll reach under the knees, pull those heels in, and then take a lean back and find some movement through low back and through hips as those knees drift side to side. I'm gonna move some of this feet around up here. Okay. Also kind of a lovely movement. It gets us out of that front to back, playing that front to back movement. It helps us find that side. Through the low. It doesn't feel that way. Twist, that little sway might be, those windshield wipers might be a little bit less, and for others, they might be all the way down, side to side. Okay, settle into your center, and from here, we'll start to bring our roll down and onto the floor. Now, if you're in a chair, just stay where you're at. You can still do most of the things that we're about to do. A few adjustments. Feel the low back come flat to the floor. So that might mean you need to lift the hips, pull the tailbone down toward the floor. See if you can get the crown of your head all the way to your tailbone, this long length of your spine in one line. Let your right leg rise high to the sky. Pull that left leg up to meet it. And then reach behind the legs, find a little bend in the knees. Now, a little bend in the knees, if your hamstrings are really tight, might look more like this, right? Because this is basically the same as a forward fold when we're standing. And you'll reach behind those legs and just like pull those legs into center. If you need to bend the knees and just drop into center, also perfect. Just trying to find a little length in the back line or in these through these hamstrings. With a little less pressure. Let your right foot come down. Bring your left foot down to meet it. And we'll heel toe the feet out to the very edges of your mat. So if you took your pinky toe, you could feel the edge of it. And if you're not using a mat, Your hips are here and your feet are probably, I don't know. Measuring is so weird, right? Measuring, so probably 6 inches wider. We're gonna go with the guess. And then from here, options are you just let those legs drift over a teeny tiny bit if that's where your body is, but it's not much of a twist through the spine. It's a long opening through this hip flexor, through these legs that we've done so much strength with today. And as you let your knees drift over to the left side, you'll bring your gaze over your right shoulder and exhale. Heel toe feet into center. Feel the knees come up, but you also will probably move your hips just to find that realignment. And again, take those feet wide. You want them wider than your shoulders, and let the knees drift over to the right side. Now you might notice from side to side, there are some differences. You can always use blocks to feel supported. Gaze comes over opposite shoulder. If your neck allows for that, that's cervical spine. Feel the strength of your breath. See if you can relax into the posture instead of forcing yourself to stay there. It does feel different when you use your brain differently. And then heel toe feet to center. Feel the knees come up. And again, you will need to adjust those hips as you push into come into center. And then let down and into the ribs and take a gentle rock side to side. Now, we'll move our knees in a circle. So this goes 2 ways. Some people are single, right? They move both legs together. And some people are single leggers, right? And their brain can do this. One knee goes one way and the other one goes the other. Okay. I'm going to give you a guess. I'm a single legger, right? I gotta move them together. Again, just finding a little movement through the low back. And then we'll come into center and then rotate in the other direction. And again, if you're doing this one, you figure it out. That feels like extra for my brain today. And then we'll settle into center. Let those knees drop down toward the armpits. And then find your variation of happy baby here. So that might be grabbing onto the back of the legs. You can reach up, grab your big toes, or whatever, however that is. I like to kick my legs a little bit just to find some movement. You know, might rock side to side. You may actually tip over to the side, which is also perfect. But it's a lovely way to release through the low back. And this you can do it while you're reclined in bed also. Okay, then from here, we'll let the heels come down toward the bottom, drift down toward the floor. And just let the knees drift into center. This can be your Shavasana, this can be that yogi nap. This, especially if you feel like your low back needs a little bit of a rest, knees can come into center. If you're using a bolster, you can slide that underneath your thighs, or you can also just simply extend the legs forward. You might have to adjust your booty. And let the hands drift up to the sides. As always, if we were in a classroom together, we would be here for 5 to 7 minutes. If you're watching this on the replay, just set your timer, allow yourself to rest. It's really the most important part of the practice. Take a few deep breaths. Let the shoulders release down toward the floor. Notice the weight of the head, maybe a little bit of softness through the jaw. Exhale. And then from here, we'll start to find that movement through the toes, through the wrists and the ankles, and begin to stretch and expand, reach behind us. Oh, maybe reach towards sky, just find a way to reawaken, right? That big morning stretch, maybe even a yawn happens. We'll pull the yeah, plant them on the floor. You go to right or left. So if I'm going to the right, I'm gonna take my left hand, bring it down to the floor. And from here, start to press that left hand into the mat, use this right arm to help prop me up. Find my way up and into my easy suit. Nope. Tuck those legs underneath. I tuck mine under, and you can leave yours extended. And again, that crisscross. Come back into the breath. Come together, let the thumbs rest in the space between the eyebrows as a reminder that may your thoughts bring you wisdom. Thumbs float to the lips, may your words speak truth. And then as your thumbs come right back into that heart center, a reminder to come back to your intention, your dedication, your prayer for your practice. And wishing you the most beautiful of days. And I hope to see you again when we come back in a few weeks. Wishing you deep peace. Om Shanti.
Namaste to you too, Sigrid, and thank you so much as always.